Good evening, YouTubers. This is DA Daniel Austin again. I looked at a couple of YouTube channels, and I've seen a lot of different people with elevators. This thing going on now where some people that's modeling urban or city type deals, they want to model, certain segments in the, as far as elevators and so forth. So, like previous deals with my introduction to Reggie the Redbird and so forth, these are two of the characters out there for the commuter service. So these are MU8 cars. I built these cars from Amtrak cars, from Bachman. I kind of modified them, to where they are multiple unit, commuter cars. Just got to finish putting the motor in there, so that way they'll run by themselves. However, one thing I do want to elaborate on is the elevator. This is the portion of the elevated section. Usually an elevated here in New York City is 3 tracks. And some places in Brooklyn it's 2 tracks. However, once the money comes in, then I'll have enough to go ahead and do 3-track segment and even longer, even longer segments whatsoever. This right here is for my fictional New York frontier northern out near Buffalo and Niagara Falls whatsoever. This is the Grand Island line. So once again, this is just a segment, just a small segment whatsoever what I got going. I've used Plastistruck, a lot of Plastistruck, pieces, a lot of old Atlas bridge parts to make the cross beams and bracings whatsoever, plus Plastistruck as well. And this scene right here, it's a rather complex scene. When we are intertwining on the difference between commuter and freight railroads. Somewhat of a grade separated type deal. Something that major rail companies would love to have, especially something the passenger transit agencies. And freight railroads, they would love this, something of great significance and great separation. So that way, they can run when they want, how they want, they can operate and do the things that they need to do in order to move the people whatsoever. So, again, and this part of the segment of the landscape, this is what I'll incorporate into, a future model, future dioramas, so the way it'll be modulated and interconnected, so forth as I, assemble different places and scenes for Reggie the Redbird and its Talking Subway Car series. Once again, so I've used a lot of scenic, a lot of woodland scenic material, a lot of lifelike trees, anything I could find, a lot of woodland scenic material. A lot of old tracks, a lot of older components that I've had for so long, and I've taken it apart, and I used hot glue, also dull coat, and some other things to try to stiffen the bracing, so that way the elevator is durable, enough for train traffic. Again, as you could see, the elevator separated from the freight main line, and, which is good. This way, business can intertwine and work well with one another. Again, this is just a small segment. I'm going to start showing some more scenes, some more city scenes, different places. It's going to be, it's basically depicting on what's going on in life in general, because, legal things whatsoever that, when you're dealing with, a transit system, an actual transit system, and mixing it in with fictional transit systems. But, basically like a world in my view type deal. But, yes, again, this is just a segment of the elevated. I'm going to start modeling more curves whatsoever. And, I've seen, a lot of laser cut pieces. I've seen online previous YouTube channels, people using laser cut balsa wood, for them to do elevators. So I said, there's other cheaper fashions if you want to do elevators. And, different components like electrical boxes and, Atlas bridge tracks is also good as well. And you can modify it to where you can have, a running third rail on the side. What I also did was I, wanted to maintain keeping these, guardrails, these inner guardrails in between the tracks, to achieve reliability and, safety, so that way the train doesn't trip, or fall off the tracks, being in such a high places. But yes, definitely be looking forward to, more scenes to Reggie the Redbird. Of course, is the introduction and to Reggie the Redbird and Friends. I'm going to add a little humor to these cars as well. I'm going to, put faces on, put their headlights or their eyes, there's going to be female, trains, for the commuter service, or probably a little bow eyelashes over the headlights. But yes, definitely, it's a lot, it's a lot to learn from, transit systems, but you're doing it with humor. So it's basically like an introduction to, industry, especially the rail industry and the transportation industry as a whole. There is a need to, refine our infrastructure. And for one thing, we want to get people to take interest, especially with the children, get interest into, how things move, how we move, how mom and dad gets to work, and, how, big machines and stuff, how they go, how they move, and, what are we using. And, like I said, it's a lot of things, it's a lot of different deals going on. Now, I had a little construction scene going on, because it's like every Saturday and Sunday, weekend service, is usually maintenance away because of lower traffic. I mean, in most businesses, who goes to work on a Saturday and Sunday? Only a few people does, so it's like half the service. So, but anyway, be on the lookout for some more of the scenes for Reggie the Redbird and talking Subway Car Series. All right, I'm Daniel Austin. Speak to you soon.